Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley 2 takes place tomorrow, and I can't wait for this matchup. I mean, this is one of the most highly anticipated rematches in combat sports history. I've needed to see this rematch for a very long time. I could not live with myself for the rest of my life unless I saw these two men run it back, because the first fight was absolutely crazy. They went back and forth. I mean, Tyron Woodley just showed that he really wanted to win. He went forward. He threw with reckless abandon. He just never stopped coming forward and swinging deafening blows towards Jake Paul's brain, because he was really trying to win, and he cared about KOing Jake Paul because he is a savage and he really wanted that victory, so he threw everything he had against... No, I'm joking. It was a bit of a dull first fight. We've got this on short notice, which is better than having nothing, because, hey, I wouldn't really be able to make this video, but I would have made a Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury video, I guess. So either way, there's a fight on this weekend when there shouldn't have been a fight on, because if no one filled in, then we would not have an event this weekend. So thank you, Tyron Woodley, for stepping up for the rematch. Tommy Fury stepped out, of course, with a broken rib. Sucks for him. Now Tyron Woodley comes in. Tommy fumbles, messes it up. Although I would not fight with a broken rib either, so I can't really blame him. It's a really bad injury. If he takes a body shot, he could literally puncture his lung and die. So I don't mind him pulling out of this one, but either way, I reckon Jake Paul beats Tyron Woodley, and here's why. I'm going to give a last-minute detailed prediction and breakdown on how I believe it's going to go, because, I mean, this is an important matchup for the MMA world, okay? I know I don't make a lot of boxing videos, but when matchups like these happen, I will make a video on it, because Tyron Woodley is, of course, a former UFC world champion, and, I was embarrassed by his first performance because I considered Jake Paul a YouTuber. Now, I did pick Jake Paul to win by KO, and I'm going to pick him to win by KO this time as well. Spoiler alert, and I'll get into why I'm going to do that in a second. But I was very disappointed by Tyron Woodley, but not as much as other people. I think Tyron Woodley did okay in that first fight because, and I'll say this as an MMA guru over here, MMA fighters typically have very shit boxing. In a boxing ring especially. Like in a stand-up fight with kicks involved, their hands are probably going to be better than some other people's hands. Like some lower level boxers, if they had to mix up everything together and they also had to throw some hands, MMA fighters will be able to hang with them a little bit better and mix it up a little bit more and make them worry about other things and then land with the big shots. It's a different kind of striking realm with your hands compared to boxing when it's just the hands, and it's a little bit more difficult, a little bit more educated, and you have to throw things a lot more correctly than you would do in MMA, because unorthodox stuff works in MMA more than it does in boxing. But either way, Tyron Woodley, and I'm just going to say this straight away, he does want to win here, and I'll say this again, he did follow up against Jake Paul in that 4th round. I don't know why people always say Woodley didn't follow up, he was trying to lose, he did not care about winning this matchup whatsoever and stuff like that. Like, Tyron Woodley landed big shots, and then after he rocked Jake Paul into the ropes, continued to walk forward and throw massive shots to try and finish him until being smacked by a massive shot off of Jake Paul. And that's what I want to talk about here. Jake Paul landed a lot of KO blows in that first fight. In fact, I'm surprised there's not like a video on YouTube or something called Jake Paul landing KO blows on Tyron Woodley, because when Woodley would close the distance and actually try and get active with Jake Paul would just wing a massive shot back and land straight on the chin of Woodley, and Woodley would like stumble into the clinch with Jake Paul. So I think the narrative that Woodley didn't follow up for a finish or didn't try to finish Jake Paul is a little bit silly, because he did actually come forward and throw some heat, but he just got smacked back and had to realise, oh wait, this guy's still dangerous, he's a big guy, there's a likelihood he's on roids as well, and he's got some power in his hands, and he's a bigger man anyway than me with a longer reach, so he's got to give him some respect there. But I believe Tyron Woodley did try and win, but I think Jake Paul was just better than him. And even if you're a person who thinks that Woodley was paid to lose, why wouldn't you think the same thing this time as well? So I'm definitely going to be picking Jake Paul. He's a better boxer than Tyron Woodley. I'm not. I don't know anyone who could beat Tyron Woodley in a boxing match in my real life circle. But Jake Paul's a tough guy. He's a good boxer. He can take a shot well. We saw that in the last fight. He took a big overhand off Woodley, even in a boxing glove. It's a lot of power to take, and you've got to have some kind of chin to take that shot. And also, genetically, Jake Paul, if you look at his jaw and his chin and, like, the thinness, like, the length of his neck and stuff like that, like, he's just a guy who looks like he can take a bit of a shot. Sort of got that sort of Tism-ish head shape, a little bit of a problemo there, maybe an extra chromosome or two jammed into that cranium. But he's got a massive head. He looks like he can take a good shot. I trust him to take good shots in this one. I trust Woodley to also take some good shots, but I do believe he's going to get KO'd. I don't think he's going to see it coming this time, and I think Jake Paul's going to get a little bit more aggressive. He's in a completely different kind of shape than he was the first time, and there's no drug testing for this one, so, there's a solid chance Jake Paul's on the old fucking, you know, not even a sniff, like the old Usman special. You know what I mean? The old Usman family's secret recipe, or something like that. I feel like Jake Paul's on the sauce. Maybe a lot of it, because why else would you not include a fucking roid clause in your contract? That makes no sense. So he's definitely on something. He looked in much better shape at the weigh-in. He's a much bigger guy, and also he's a younger guy in the sport as well of boxing now. Woodley has been boxing for a while, but he's an older guy. He doesn't have that drive that he had when he was a young guy coming up, getting into the game. He's been throwing his hands for a very long time anyway, and been boxing training for a long time, and even then he didn't make much improvements or show too much skill in the first boxing match he had. Plus in this one, he was looking like an MMA fighter in terms of his career. I want to fight in different promotions. I'm looking at this, I'm looking at that. Is Bellator interested? Like, stuff like that was sort of being murmured about. Like, maybe he'd make a return to the MMA world in July, I think he was saying, or something like that. But then this matchup came up in the boxing world against Jake Paul. So I don't think he's been training 100% on the boxing. I think he's sort of been just eyeing up a bunch of different things to see what's best for him and his money recently. But Jake Paul's been focusing on boxing for the past however many weeks. He's known his next matchup is Tommy Fury. He's known he's wanted to do that matchup for a very long time. I know he joked and said he was retired, but I feel like he knew immediately after the Tyron Woodley fight, next up is probably going to be Tommy Fury. I'll start training for that one. So Jake Paul's been in, like, he's been on sort of go time, all systems go, since the last fight against Tyron Woodley, and Woodley's been sort of dabbling in other stuff, so I think Jake Paul's going to make more improvements. He's buying himself more time to beat a guy like Tommy Fury as well, so this is a great way of doing things. And I know he said he wants to come over to MMA, but don't even fucking try it. Just stay in the boxing world and keep doing your thing, because I think he can beat a lot more guys, and the longer that these guys wait to try and beat him, and the longer these guys take to get him, the more he's going to improve every single time. He tries definitely very hard in boxing. He isn't showing massive improvements in his game. He just went 8 rounds for the first time in his career. Before that last fight, he'd never gone outside the second round ever before in his entire boxing career. No, wait. In his pro boxing career, I believe he went to like the 4th round or something like that with Deji. This is so weird to break down as a fucking talking about Deji here in a boxing breakdown, but that's the world we're in right now. But still, he went to the 5th round with Deji, or the 4th round with Deji, but other than that, he's never really been pro on 8 rounds with a massive crowd around him as well, so he's got that experience under his belt too. First time in his life he's been a distance. I think it's good experience for him, and I only think he's going to do it better the next time, especially if he's on roids and if he's improving. And the fact that Woodley's on short notice and doesn't look in the best of shape. I watched a video earlier of a guy breaking down that he was sort of gassing out a little bit at the open workout, and he didn't really look in the best of shape. He doesn't look in the most physically impressive shape we've seen Tyron Woodley in, and Jake Paul's probably loaded to the gills on roids, looking to come in after a very long training camp of boxing. I don't see Tyron Woodley winning. Now, there is a chance that he does, but I'm going to call a Jake Paul 2nd round KO here, I believe. Maybe the first. I'll say the 2nd round. I think Jake Paul's just going to cruise his way through the 1st round, landing a bunch of body shots. It seemed to work a lot for him in the first fight against Tyron Woodley, because Woodley's sort of a short, compact guy. He's got a big torso, sort of hunches over his work. He was lowering himself, and sort of Jake Paul was just, with that massive reach advantage, can just stick one right into his fucking stomach. Boom, over and over again. Find his range with that jab to the body, that right hand to the body as well, and then start mixing some shots upstairs. That's what he did the first time, so I think he'll do no different here. I don't see like a rapid change of game plan. I think he'll throw some heat in the 1st round, land some good shots in the 1st round. Woodley will land some good shots as well, but Jake Paul will get the better of it by landing more body shots, bringing down the hands of Tyron Woodley as the round goes on. And I think he'll start wearing on the body of Tyron Woodley, fighting in the clinch a little bit more, landing more body shots in the clinch. Then they're going to break. They're going to go back to their corner in the 2nd round, and Tyron Woodley's coaches are going to be screaming at him, "Not this again. Please don't embarrass the whole entire world of MMA again. You've got to go out there and make things happen this time. We are not leaving this in the hands of the judges. Do you hear me? Yeah. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Slap, slap, slap. I'll fucking spit in your wife's face unless you turn it up this round and throw some fucking punches." And then Woodley will start throwing some punches, and then I think he'll get KO'd at the start of the 2nd round, I'd assume. That's how I see it going anyway. Start of the 2nd round KO for Jake Paul. Lands a big shot on Woodley, puts him down. Lands another big shot on Woodley, puts him down. And they stop it as Woodley's getting back up to answer the 10 count again. I think that's how I see this fight going. I thought that was going to happen the first time in the first round. I'll say the second round this time. And I can see the fight being finished, not by Woodley being out cold or being actually finished. I think he's going to take a very long time to get back up. Try and get back up at 9 or 10. And the referee's just going to wave it off straight away because it ain't a world championship bout. And he's been knocked down once or twice already. So I'm going to go with Jake Paul. 2 knockdowns in the second round at the very start of it after Tyron Woodley tries to get a round back for himself and gets a little bit more over-aggressive. And I think that's when Jake Paul's going to land that sort of counter. What shot is he going to land? Let's go with that left hook. I think it was there the first time. He'll land it this time. I'll go with Woodley throwing a massive right hand, missing it, and Jake Paul sort of ducking down and winging that left hook over the top in a counter-type fashion and landing it flush on sort of the side of the head of Tyron Woodley and sort of making him go jelly leg to the canvas. Then landing a big combination afterwards with an uppercut and another hook. Down goes Woodley again, and I think he'll stop the fight there. Good matchup, though, and if he wins this one, I guess it's back to Tommy Fury, and honestly, why wouldn't you? Give Tommy Fury some time to recover. You'll only benefit yourself by giving yourself more time to train because Fury's had more experience. So this will be more experience for you. More inactivity for Tommy Fury. He's coming back after an injury as well. So if I was Jake Paul, I'd win this one, enjoy my Christmas and New Year's, and look to fight Tommy Fury in April or something like that. And if he beats Tommy Fury, I don't know what's next for him. I think he'll look for the Nate Diaz's of the world. But Diaz just sort of re-signed with the UFC. So I don't get what he's going to fucking do. Is there a Mike Perry in his future? I would fucking love to see that, maybe, for Mike Perry's sake. Get him the fucking money before he's done in his career. Where does it go after Tommy Fury? That's the problem. The KSI ain't fighting Jake Paul. I mean, I know enough about boxing to know that. KSI would get destroyed by Jake Paul. I know there's some KSI fans that think otherwise, and I see some posts like recommended to me on YouTube or something where you'll go on it like a KSI video about the boxing or he's reacting to Jake Paul's fight, and it's all the comments saying, you know, I think KSI would actually have a chance. Like, KSI throws punches like a fucking spastic. He'd get flatline KO'd in the first round. But, it's a good matchup, though. I don't know what they're going to fucking do. Probably Jake Paul, Floyd Mayweather. I could see that happening. Mayweather coming back for another big payday against Jake Paul if he's a bigger name by then as well. And actually beat a good boxer in Tommy Fury, or a capable boxer, I guess, from a good boxing family in Tommy Fury. Goes like something like 8-0 or whatever he'll be, 7-0 or something like that. And then takes on like a Floyd Mayweather. I could see him doing that. I could even see him fighting Logan Paul just for the money. And then sort of fake a beef and then settle it afterwards. I know they faked a beef earlier in their careers on YouTube and stuff like that and then settled it afterwards. So they have no problem going against each other for money. We'll see how this one goes, though. What a fucking epic matchup for the ages. Oh, goodness. Can't wait to tell my grandkids about this one. Woodley's literally being fucking paid to try and actually KO Jake Paul, which is so weird. But I feel like Jake Paul in the build-up, although people sort of clown him on stuff, he's pretty fucking genius because he makes Woodley act like... He makes Woodley think that he's not even a threat. You know what I mean? Like, Woodley in his mind's probably thinking, this fucking clown again, what a fucking pussy. He's doing all that sus fucking shit, whatever the fuck he's doing. I don't agree with it, but he's doing all this fucking sus shit. Non-stop. It's kind of funny in times. It's a weird fucking... It's a weird change up from the regular sort of face-to-face fighting interviews that you'd see where everyone's trying to get aggressive with each other. And I think he's just sort of messing up the emotions of Tyron Woodley. Like, he's being all nice to him. He gave him a fucking Rolex. Like, listen, I'll fight Jake Paul just for the fucking Rolex. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. He gave Tyron Woodley a Rolex. He's saying he loves him and he wants to eat his ass. And crazy fucking shit to make him seem like he's not a threat and all nice and kumbaya and konnichiwa and all that feng shui fucking pineapple shit. But it's a good matchup. We'll see how it goes. I think he's just going to switch it on him, though. And that's what he did at the weigh-ins as well. He got in his face. He started screaming at him and getting crazy aggressive on him as well. I think he's just sort of lulled him into this full sense of, thank you for taking the fight, friend. Oh, friend. Oh, Woodley friend. Oh, watch friend. And then he sort of befriended him over that. And then now he's going to switch it up and get all aggressive on him and start fucking landing fucking vicious punches on him in the first round, making Woodley panic, and then he's going to finish him in the second. God, I don't want to see a trilogy. So let's move on from this, even just from what I want to happen. I want Jake Paul to win. I want him to win impressively this time. And then we move on to the Tommy Fury fight. And then we start looking at maybe the Mayweathers. What a fucking world we're in, eh? But there you go. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Jake Paul second round KO with a counter left hook. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye. See you later.